And of course, Amina would start with that, with DEI. I'm very curious about this. So what is this diversity, equity, and inclusion in ELT? Is it a new field? Is it something now that is new and evolving?
It has always been a topic of interest for researchers, for teachers as well, to make sure that your students are included in the classroom and make sure that to make sure the materials are representative of the society that the students evolve in. However, there were and there still are a lot of issues with representing and including historically marginalized groups. And whatever the context in whichever context you are, the historically marginalized group may change. With the murder of George Floyd, there was a rise of anti-racist rhetoric and activism that reached corporations and companies around the world, and the publishing industry is one of them. A lot of publishers have pledged to be more considerate of historically marginalized groups, including the Black community around the world, especially in the global North. And it started with trying to be more equitable and inclusive to the Black members of the society, and it evolved into including all historically marginalized groups, whether people who are within the spectrum of neurodiversity, disability, genders, and also religions, cultures, and race and ethnicity is one dimension that I focus on. So with publishers, what I do is, as an external reviewer, consultant, I look at the materials they provide me and advise on a better way of representing historically marginalized groups. I can give you examples in the field of English
Sure.
language teaching. We have units like talk about jobs.
Mhm.
So, and you would have pictures of different roles, and then you would have text about different roles, and you would have a scientist and a researcher, you would
Mhm.
have a sports person, you'd have a lawyer, etc. So, what has happened in ELT is that we reproduce the stereotypes of the society within the textbooks, and then
Mhm.
there you will find a lawyer who is a
Mhm.
middle-aged white man, uh, mostly maybe middle class, that would be systematically represented or representing how a lawyer looks like. So, as
Mhm.
an ELT DEI consultant, and I come across jobs and roles that are not as inclusive as they should be, I highlight that to the publisher and I
Mhm.
make recommendations. I try to rely on scholarly work and research to to justify my recommendation, basically, and
And
especially.
how receptive do you think are the publishers in recent years of whatever remarks you give them about the necessity to include other races or in terms of gender? What have you noticed in terms of a reception of your remarks?
So when they call someone like me into the project, whether in the middle or not necessarily at the beginning, they are still calling DEI consultant at the middle or the end of the project, when it's
Mm.
basically all wrapped up and they want to make sure everything is equitable and in good quality, basically, to be
Mhm.
published. So when they call someone in like me, they already have established a budget, and the fact that they are creating budgets within the pipeline of the project, it shows commitment to
Mm.
DEI. There is more work to be done, of course. However, at the state where it is now, I think it's going in the right direction.
All right. And I'm curious to know what has inspired you to focus on diversity and equality or equity and inclusion. What has been your, can you share a little bit your journey to that?
Sure. I did my research, my PhD research in the field of intercultural communication as a field of inquiry, and I focused on the analysis of textbooks. I have a huge passion for textbooks since I started teaching and studying English. I have a real passion for the materials themselves, for the books. I love looking through the pages and trying to see who's there and who's not there. So it has always been something that was with me when I was doing my licence, and then later on when I did my master's, and then when I wanted to do my PhD, I thought I want to look at interculturality
Mm.
in how it is articulated in textbooks and therefore in the classroom, and that's how I ended up working in this line of work. Yeah.
Wonderful. And you said since you were studying in the licence and the masters, so that goes back to the time when you were here in Algeria. And so I guess my question here is, what were your remarks or what have you noticed in general about Algerian textbooks in public schools, especially concerning English? um, then and now. I'm not sure, are you a bit familiar with the new curriculum and textbooks in the public schools in Algeria? So, what have been your remarks again about that?